The first 30 seconds of this video promise a journey back to the golden age of gaming, revealing how Super Mario Bros. Secretly changed everything, uncovering hidden mechanics, strange design choices, mysterious glitches, and forgotten ideas from the NES era, explaining why this simple-looking 8-bit game still influences modern titles today, teasing secrets developers never openly talked about, and showing how a plumber jumping on turtles became one of the most powerful symbols in video game history. So stay until the end, because what seems like a harmless childhood game hides stories, decisions, and secrets that will completely change the way you see Super Mario Bros. Forever. Super Mario Bros. Was released at a time when the video game industry was still recovering from chaos, confusion, and a massive loss of trust. And somehow this colorful cartridge managed to rebuild an entire medium by teaching players how to play without using words, tutorials, or instructions, relying only on clever design, visual language, and psychological tricks that most players never consciously noticed but instantly understood, making the game feel simple while secretly being one of the smartest designs ever created. From the very first seconds of World 121, the game is already manipulating the player in subtle ways, placing enemies, blocks, and power-ups with surgical precision, guiding movement and curiosity without ever breaking immersion. And this level alone is studied by game designers decades later because it silently teaches jumping, timing, risk, reward, and momentum using nothing more than pixels and gravity, proving that Super Mario Bros. Was never just a game but a masterclass hidden inside a cheerful adventure. The NES hardware itself imposed brutal limitations, with restricted memory, limited colors, and strict sprite rules, yet, instead of holding the game back, these limits forced creativity to flourish, turning technical problems into iconic features, such as Mario's instantly recognizable mustache, which existed not for style but because pixels could not properly animate, a mouth, or his red hat, which existed to avoid animating hair accidentally, creating one of the most famous character designs in history. One of the strangest secrets of Super Mario Bros. Lies in how the game actually cheats, adjusting difficulty dynamically depending on player behavior, subtly speeding up enemies, modifying timing windows, and punishing hesitation, which creates the illusion that the game is fair while secretly demanding confidence and forward movement, rewarding players who commit to action and subtly pressuring those who hesitate too long. Hidden blocks scattered throughout the game are another psychological trick, encouraging exploration and curiosity while also training players to question the environment, creating a sense of mystery and discovery that defined the NES era, and even today players still remember the excitement of finding invisible rewards, a mechanic that taught gamers that experimentation itself could be fun, even if it sometimes resulted in failure. Warp zones represent another fascinating secret, acting as both a reward for skilled players and a clever way to shorten the game's length, allowing experienced gamers to skip worlds entirely, which not only increased replay value but also encouraged speedrunning decades before the term even existed, turning Super Mario Bros. Into one of the most replayed games of all time despite its relatively short runtime. The enemies themselves tell a strange story, with Goombas, Koopas, and other creatures behaving in predictable yet oddly lifelike ways, designed not just as obstacles, but as moving tutorials, teaching players timing, spacing, and pattern recognition. While their cartoonish appearance masked the fact that each enemy was carefully engineered to train the player's skills step by step, music played a massive role in shaping the emotional rhythm of the game, with upbeat melodies driving momentum, tension tracks increasing panic underwater or in castles, and the iconic time running out jingle creating genuine stress. All accomplished with simple 8-bit sound channels that somehow became timeless, embedding themselves into global pop culture and memory. One of the most intriguing secrets from the NES era is how Super Mario Bros. Encouraged mastery rather than completion, subtly telling players that the real goal was not just reaching Bowser but improving performance, refining movement, learning enemy placement, and perfecting runs. Which explains why millions of players kept restarting the game from the beginning even after beating it multiple times. The game's physics are another hidden marvel, with Mario's jump arc, acceleration, and momentum tuned so precisely that they still feel responsive decades later, creating a sense of control that modern games still struggle to replicate, proving that simplicity does not mean lack of depth, and that perfect mechanics can outlive graphics, trends, and technology. Glitches and quirks also became part of the game's legacy, with flagpole glitches, minus worlds, and strange behaviors. Accidentally slipping through development, transforming Super Mario Bros. Into a playground for explorers, hackers, and speedrunners, extending its life far beyond what its creators ever imagined and turning mistakes into legends. Behind the cheerful visuals lies a surprisingly dark undertone, with ruined castles, hostile environments, and a world clearly under siege, subtly implying loss, invasion, and collapse, yet presenting it through bright colors and playful music, creating a contrast that made the experience accessible to children while still emotionally engaging for older players. Super Mario Bros. Also redefined how players interacted with difficulty, offering a challenge that felt tough but fair, punishing mistakes immediately, while always making failure feel like the player's fault rather than the game's, which is one of the reasons frustration turned into determination instead of abandonment, a balance many modern games still attempt to achieve. The NES era itself was shaped by this game's success as developers across the world studied its structure, pacing, and mechanics, copying ideas that would define platformers for decades, proving that Super Mario Bros. Did not just succeed in its time, but actively created the future of gaming as we know it. Even today, the game's influence can be seen in modern indie titles, releases, speedrunning communities, and game design courses, all tracing ideas back to this humble cartridge that looked simple, sounded cheerful, and quietly rewired how humans interact with virtual worlds. Super Mario Bros. Is not remembered because it was old, but because it was smart, timeless, and deceptively deep, hiding secrets in plain sight while teaching generations of players how to think, react, and improve without ever explicitly saying a word, making it one of the most important games ever created. If this journey into the secrets of the NES era changed the way you see Super Mario Bros., make sure to subscribe to the channel for more retro deep dives. Comment below with your favorite Mario memory or secret, and share this video with anyone who grew up holding a NES controller, because the legends of retro gaming deserve to be remembered, explored, and passed on to the next generation.